Think about this for a moment. Millions of people around the world wake up every morning carrying invisible wounds in their hearts. They kneel down, they close their eyes, they whisper prayers through tears that won't stop falling. Yet somehow the pain remains. The emptiness persists. The questions multiply. But here's what most people don't realize about prayer. When your heart is shattered into pieces, there's a hidden truth that changes everything. A truth so powerful that it can transform your understanding of why some prayers feel like they disappear into silence, while others become the very bridge that leads you back to wholeness. What you're about to discover in the next few minutes might completely shift how you approach prayer during your darkest hours. And I promise you, the most life-changing revelation will come at the very end. So stay with me, because this could be the answer your wounded heart has been searching for. Welcome to Daily Prayer, a sacred space of faith, hope, and daily inspiration, created especially for souls who refuse to walk alone through their journey, no matter how broken the path may seem. If this resonates with your heart, please subscribe to Daily Prayer, hit that like button, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Your engagement helps us reach more hearts that are quietly suffering, believing they're the only ones feeling this way. And please leave a comment below. Your words might be exactly what another broken heart needs to read today. Now let me ask you something that might feel uncomfortable, but I need you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever found yourself questioning whether God actually hears your prayers? Have you ever wondered if your pain is somehow too small, too complicated, or too shameful for divine attention? Here's what I've learned after years of walking alongside people whose hearts have been shattered by loss, betrayal, illness, and disappointment. The way we've been taught to pray when we're broken is fundamentally backwards. We've been conditioned to see prayer as a transaction. We bring our pain, we ask for relief, we wait for results. But broken hearts don't need transactions, they need presence. Think about the last time you tried to comfort a friend who was grieving. Did you hand them a solution? Did you give them a timeline for healing? Or did you simply sit with them in their pain, allowing your presence to speak louder than any words could? This is where most of us get prayer completely wrong when our hearts are breaking. We approach it like a divine customer service desk. We present our problems with precision. We explain why we deserve help. We negotiate with promises of better behavior. We bargain with commitments of increased faith. Meanwhile, our wounded soul is crying out for something entirely different. It's not asking for explanations. It's not demanding immediate relief. It's simply longing to be held in the vastness of something larger than its pain. I want you to imagine something with me right now. Picture yourself as a child who has fallen and scraped their knee. The pain is real, the tears are flowing, and all you want is comfort. Now, what does a loving parent do? Do they lecture you about being more careful? Do they explain the biological process of wound healing? Do they set conditions for their love based on how quickly you stop crying? No, they scoop you up. They hold you close. They let you cry until the tears naturally subside. Their presence becomes your safety. Their heartbeat becomes your rhythm back to peace. This is the prayer your broken heart is actually seeking. Not the prayer of desperate requests, but the prayer of sacred presence. Not the prayer that demands answers, but the prayer that finds comfort in being witnessed by something infinitely compassionate. But here's where it gets even more profound, and this might surprise you. When your heart is broken, you're actually in the most powerful position to experience the deepest form of prayer possible. Not in spite of your pain, but because of it. You see, wholeness creates distance. When everything in our life is going well, when our relationships are smooth, when our health is strong, when our finances are stable, prayer can become routine, superficial. We approach it from a place of abundance, asking for extras rather than essentials. But brokenness creates intimacy. When your heart is shattered, every prayer becomes essential. Every moment of connection becomes precious. Every whisper of comfort becomes a lifeline. Your broken heart hasn't disqualified you from meaningful prayer. It has initiated you into the deepest level of spiritual intimacy available to human souls. You're not praying from the outside, hoping to get in. You're praying from the inside of the mystery itself, from the very place where divine love meets human suffering. I know this might sound contradictory to everything you've been told about prayer. We've been taught that we need to approach prayer from strength, from faith, from certainty. We've been told that doubt diminishes our prayers, that questions weaken our connection, that tears signal a lack of trust. But what if the opposite is true? What if your doubts are actually your soul's way of reaching for something more real than easy answers? What if your questions are prayers in their purest form? What if your tears are the most honest worship you've ever offered? Think about it this way. When you pray with a broken heart, you're not bringing God your representative self, your polished self, your got-it-all-together self. You're bringing your truest self, the self that hurts, the self that struggles, the self that doesn't have all the answers but shows up anyway. And this self, this vulnerable, wounded, questioning self, is exactly who divine love has been waiting to embrace. There's something I need to tell you about the prayers you've been whispering in the dark hours of your nights. The ones you thought were too broken to reach heaven. The ones that felt more like desperate bleeding than sacred communication. The ones where you couldn't find pretty words, only raw need. Those prayers, they're the ones that have been heard most clearly. You see, we've been carrying this misconception that prayer requires eloquence, that we need to dress up our pain in acceptable language, that we must translate our human messiness into spiritual politeness before we dare approach the sacred. But I want you to consider something that might change everything. What if the prayers that feel most inadequate to you are actually the most authentic prayers you've ever offered? What if your stumbling words, your angry questions, your desperate silence are exactly the language divine love speaks most fluently? Let me share something with you that happened to me during one of the darkest periods of my life. I'd been carrying a burden so heavy that it felt like my chest was caving in. Every morning, I would try to pray the way I thought I was supposed to. I would organize my thoughts, choose careful words, present my case with as much faith as I could muster. But nothing came. The words felt hollow. The ritual felt empty. I began to believe that my pain was too complicated for prayer, too messy for divine attention. One night I gave up trying to pray properly. I stopped trying to be spiritual. I stopped trying to be faithful. I just sat in my pain and let it exist without apology. And in that moment of complete surrender to my brokenness, something extraordinary happened. I realized I wasn't alone in that darkness. There was a presence there with me, not offering explanations, not providing solutions, just being present with my pain, witnessing it, holding space for it, loving me through it. That's when I understood something profound about prayer and broken hearts. The goal isn't to pray your way out of your brokenness. The goal is to discover that you're never alone in it. Your broken heart isn't a barrier to meaningful prayer. It's a doorway into the most honest conversation you've ever had with the sacred. When everything else is stripped away, when all your defenses are down, when you have nothing left to offer but your raw truth, that's when real prayer begins. Now, I want you to try something with me right now. Don't worry about anyone else who might be listening. This moment is just between you and whatever force of love you believe exists in this universe. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That rhythm, even when it's racing with anxiety, even when it's heavy with grief, even when it feels broken beyond repair, that rhythm is a prayer in itself. It's your life force saying, I'm still here. I'm still trying. I haven't given up. Breathe with me for a moment. Don't try to fix your breathing. Don't try to make it perfect. Just notice it. Each inhale is hope entering your body. Each exhale is you releasing what you cannot control. This is prayer without words. This is communion without ceremony. Now, whatever is breaking your heart right now, the loss, the betrayal, the illness, the loneliness, the fear, instead of trying to explain it away or pray it away, I want you to just acknowledge it. Say hello to your pain. Not as an enemy, but as a messenger. Your pain is trying to tell you something important. It's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to awaken you to what matters most. It's trying to strip away everything that isn't essential so you can rediscover what is. This is why broken hearts often experience the most profound spiritual awakenings. Not because suffering is good, but because suffering has a way of clearing away everything that isn't real. All the superficial concerns, all the trivial worries, all the meaningless distractions. Suffering burns them away like fire burns away wood, leaving only what's truly precious. When your heart is broken, every moment of peace becomes sacred. Every small kindness becomes a miracle. Every breath becomes a gift. Every sunrise becomes a promise. You're not experiencing less of life. You're experiencing more of what life actually is, beneath all the noise. But here's what I really need you to understand, and this is crucial. Your broken heart doesn't need to be fixed to be worthy of love. It doesn't need to be healed to be holy. It doesn't need to be whole to be welcomed. Divine love doesn't love you in spite of your brokenness. It loves you, including your brokenness. Your cracks aren't flaws to be hidden. They're where the light gets in. They're where compassion is born. They're where your capacity for loving others who are hurting exponentially expands. Think about the people in your life who have shown you the most genuine compassion. I'll bet they weren't the ones who had never suffered. They were the ones who had their hearts broken open and discovered that broken hearts don't actually break. They crack open into something larger, something more capable of holding both joy and sorrow, both hope and grief, both faith and doubt. This is the sacred alchemy of the broken heart. It doesn't become less than it was. It becomes more than it ever imagined possible. Now I need to share with you the most transformative truth about prayer and broken hearts. This is the revelation that changes everything, and it's probably the opposite of what you've been told your entire life. You ready? Here it is. Your broken heart is not broken at all. It's cracked open, and there's a profound difference between the two. Something that is broken is damaged, diminished, in need of repair. But something that is cracked open is expanded, awakened, made more spacious. Your heart hasn't become less capable of love. It's become infinitely more capable of holding the full spectrum of human experience. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a small, perfect vessel that can only hold clear water. It's beautiful, pristine, functional for its intended purpose. But then life happens. Pressure builds. Cracks appear. Now this vessel can no longer hold just clear water, but it can hold tears and wine and medicine and liquid gold. Its capacity has exploded beyond its original design. This is what happens to hearts that have been through the fire of suffering. They don't become broken, they become boundless. But here's where most of us miss the miracle. We spend so much energy trying to return our hearts to their original, smaller state. We pray for healing that will make us forget our pain. We beg for restoration to who we were before the cracking began. What if I told you that this kind of healing would actually be a tragedy? What if going back would mean losing the very expansion that your pain was trying to create? The prayer of a broken heart isn't, "Please make me whole again." The prayer of a broken heart is, "Help me understand what this new wholeness looks like." It's not asking to go backward. It's asking for the courage to grow forward into something larger than you ever imagined yourself capable of becoming. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Really close them. Take 3 deep breaths with me. 1, let your shoulders drop. 2, let your jaw soften. 3, let your heart expand. Now imagine your pain as a dark, rich soil, not as an enemy, but as the very ground from which something beautiful is about to grow. In this soil of your suffering, what wants to emerge? What new capacity for compassion? What deeper understanding of love? What expanded ability to hold space for others who are hurting? Feel into this. Don't rush it. Let yourself sense what's trying to be born from your brokenness. This is the prayer your soul is actually praying, beneath all your words, beneath all your requests. It's praying for the courage to become who you're meant to become through this experience, not who you were before it happened. Because here's the secret that changes everything about prayer. You are not praying to something outside of yourself, asking it to fix something inside of yourself. You are praying from the deepest part of yourself to awaken the divine nature that has always been there, waiting for exactly this moment of cracking open to finally have space to emerge. Your broken heart is not separate from divine love. It is where divine love is learning to express itself through human experience. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night you've endured, every moment you felt completely alone, these weren't signs that you were abandoned by the sacred. These were signs that you were being initiated into it. Think about every spiritual teacher, every saint, every person who has ever touched your soul with their wisdom and compassion. I guarantee you, not one of them reached that level of love without having their heart cracked wide open by life. Their brokenness wasn't a detour from their spiritual path. It was their spiritual path. And now you're on that same path. Not because you asked for it, not because you deserved it, but because life has deemed you ready for this level of initiation into love. Your broken heart is your invitation into the depths of compassion that only become accessible through personal suffering. This is why your prayers from this place carry such power. You're not praying from theory anymore. You're not praying from concepts you've read about. You're praying from lived experience, from hard-earned wisdom, from a heart that has been stretched by pain and discovered it can hold infinitely more love than it ever knew. When you pray with a broken heart, you're not just asking for help, you're offering to be part of the solution. You're saying, use my pain to help heal other pain. Use my struggle to bring comfort to other strugglers. Use my brokenness to demonstrate that nothing is ever truly broken beyond repair. This is the prayer that the world needs most right now. Not the prayer of perfection, but the prayer of authentic humanity. Not the prayer of those who have never suffered, but the prayer of those who have suffered and discovered that love is stronger than pain, that hope is more powerful than despair, that connection is deeper than any wound. Your broken heart is not your weakness, it's your superpower. It's what allows you to recognize pain in others before they even speak it. It's what enables you to offer comfort that actually comforts because it comes from someone who knows what comfort feels like when you're drowning. It's what makes your presence a sanctuary for other wounded souls. And this brings us to the most beautiful paradox of all. The prayer of the broken heart ultimately becomes a prayer of gratitude. Not gratitude for the pain itself, but gratitude for who you're becoming because of how you're choosing to walk through the pain. Here we are, at the moment I promised would change everything. The final revelation that transforms how you understand prayer when your heart is shattered. Are you ready? The most powerful prayer you will ever offer is not the one where you ask to be healed. It's the one where you offer to be a healing presence for others who are walking the same dark path you once walked alone. This is the moment when your brokenness transforms from a burden into a bridge. When your pain stops being something that happened to you and becomes something that flows through you to touch other lives. When your wound becomes your wisdom, your scar becomes your strength, your story becomes someone else's hope. I want you to imagine something with me. Picture yourself 5 years from now. You've integrated this experience. You've learned to carry your sensitivity as a gift rather than a curse. Your heart has grown so spacious that it can hold joy and sorrow simultaneously without breaking. You've become someone who can sit with another person's pain without trying to fix it, without being overwhelmed by it, without running away from it. That person, that future version of you, that's who your broken heart is praying to become right now. Not someone who has forgotten their pain, but someone who has transformed their pain into a doorway for compassion to enter the world. This is the prayer ritual I want to offer you now. Not a prayer of asking, but a prayer of offering. Not a prayer of need, but a prayer of service. Place both hands on your heart. Feel the rhythm there. This heart that has been broken, cracked open, expanded beyond its original capacity. Take a deep breath and say these words with me, either out loud or in the silence of your soul. Sacred presence that moves through all things, I offer my broken heart as a vessel for your love. Use my pain to recognize pain in others. Use my healing to offer hope to those who are still suffering. Use my story to remind others that no night lasts forever, no winter is permanent, no heartbreak is final. Let my sensitivity become a gift, not a burden. Let my empathy become a superpower, not a weakness. Let my scars become doorways through which love can enter and multiply. I'm not asking you to take away my capacity to feel deeply. I'm asking you to help me use that capacity to heal a world that desperately needs hearts like mine. Transform my wound into wisdom. Transform my breakdown into breakthrough. Transform my ending into a new beginning that serves something larger than my individual healing. I accept the invitation of my broken heart. I accept the expansion it offers. I accept the responsibility that comes with having been cracked open to hold more love than I ever thought possible. Breathe with that for a moment. Let it settle into your bones, into your bloodstream, into the very core of who you are becoming. Now here's what I know to be true about every person who has ever prayed this prayer of offering, this prayer of transformation, this prayer of sacred service. Your life will never be the same, not because your circumstances will magically change, but because you will have discovered that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are an alchemist of them. You will begin to notice synchronicities. People will start appearing in your life who need exactly the kind of comfort you wished you had received during your darkest hours. You will find yourself saying exactly the words someone needs to hear, not because you planned them, but because they flow naturally from a heart that has been broken open and rebuilt with divine love as the mortar. Your broken heart will become a lighthouse for other broken hearts. They will find you across crowded rooms, through mutual friends, in online conversations, in chance encounters that aren't really chance at all. They will sense something different about you, a quality of presence that can only come from someone who has been to the depths and discovered that even there, they were not alone. This is the ultimate prayer of the broken heart. Use me, not heal me or fix me or restore me to how I was before, but use me exactly as I am, cracks and all, to be part of healing this broken world. And here's the miracle that happens when you pray this prayer consistently. You realize that your heart was never broken in the first place. It was breaking open to receive more love than you ever thought possible, breaking open to give more compassion than you ever knew you contained. Breaking open to become a living prayer, a walking sanctuary, a breathing blessing in human form. If you watch this entire message, it means your broken heart was ready to hear this truth. It means you're ready to stop seeing your sensitivity as a flaw and start seeing it as a sacred assignment. It means you're ready to transform from someone who suffers into someone who transforms suffering wherever they encounter it. Write in the comments, "My broken heart is my sacred gift." I want to see how many of us are walking this path together. Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to read, to know they're not alone in their breaking open. And if this message touched something deep in your soul, please share it with someone who needs to remember that their broken heart isn't broken. It's becoming boundless. Subscribe to Daily Prayer for more reminders that your sensitivity is sacred, your pain has purpose, and your broken heart is actually your most beautiful prayer. Remember, you are not broken. You are breaking open, and the world needs what you're becoming through that sacred process. The prayer continues in your life now. Go be the answer to someone else's broken-hearted prayer.